the thing saying that it's being live streamed?
I guess I got something that's in, and I got it.
So price of coffee went down a bit, man.
Really? Look, what,
$1.50 pound.
how much pound?
$1.50.
Oh, really?
Probably selling for $2 now.
Well, you know something, the guy just told me that he paid $100 for a sack.
Yeah, that's about
For
$2
this
a pound.
past weekend, he says not a guy, a guy friend from airport called him and told him he could get him for $80 a sack. So you're right, they're selling him $2 a pound. And he told me that they were huge.
It's nice.
Video and sound.
Okay, sounds great. Let me see what I did with the whole thing.
Oh.
Okay, Justin, that's it? I can hear you.
Yes, go ahead.
I got big guy in, Chris coming in the week. Good evening, brother.
4:55, let's get the drainage committee meeting started. The director reflect that all members are present. Item number 1, discuss the repairs to drainage pump purchase with hazardous mitigation.
Glad you gentlemen see, I kind of put together a cost estimate on the drainage pump replacement costs. Listed is the item and the pumps that are currently in place by column diameter, column length, and the pump configuration. If you look to the right of it, it has actually the replacement cost as per the bid. And then I kind of estimated labor costs, which should have been inflated a little more, and piping and fittings, rental for a machine, and it gives you an actual total price on the bottom side, but it is actually somewhat a higher number, inflated number to an extent to make sure we cover them.
What was that rental equipment? That was.
That's a rental in case we need a crane for extensions. Correct, to pull the pumps in and out. That's for a month rental, based on a daily rental cost from previous jobs.
Labor, y'all got 160 man hours.
Yeah, I miscalculated a little bit, Chris. It should have been probably about 4 times that amount as far as dollar figures, because I calculated it on one man. So it actually should have been quite a bit more. Closer to 12,000. And as you can see, most of the stuff is estimated because it's very difficult to get any hard numbers on the labor cost and piping and rental equipment.
So you're really looking at 570,000 with your additional labor.
Correct. Yeah. We currently didn't have any 24-inch line shaft pumps on bid, so I did get a quoted price. And that's why I came in at $43,235.
We have some 24-inch pumps out there now.
Yes, yes. And this is only pertaining to the hazardous mitigation pump. There's not any other pumps that we have. It's the ones that were bought with that particular pumps.
The 22 pump.
22 redundancy pumps.
Shame we having this conversation. Man,
Yep.
That's terrible. But you go with low bidder, you go with somebody out of state and
And as we all know, just to repair them came in at $225,000, and then we're still dealing with the same pumps. You know,
So do apply for hazard mitigation grant again?
Well, that's what we talked
Yeah.
last police year, was to apply for hazard mitigation grant money again. I've talked to Paul and talked to Brian, and I've talked with Joseph, so I need some information from them. This is part of it, and I'm gonna get with Joseph to get the last grant that we push forward for those 22 grants, we can start applying for if that's the route we want to go, which I have no problem with.
What's the match on that?
Nothing. What was it?
Hazard mitigation, was there a match with hazard mitigation?
25%.
Yeah,
25?
they're normally 75, 25. Right?
So I think so.
I believe it, I think you're right, I think it is.
I think,
25.
yeah, what I've seen was 25%, but I don't know what it was with the last grant.
It was 25% at that time.
The only other thing we'd have to make sure is that we can use this
Same
to,
grant over again.
yeah,
Yeah.
to repair,
But to replace,
already funded by.
to replace pumps that were replaced with the same funding source.
Okay, so we may run into the problem again where we have to go out for low bid again on these pumps.
well, it's actually, we already have a bid contract on pump,
Most of
That-
on most of them.
We're doing
We'll
how
be in the same situation we here
Oh, we're
now
not gonna let that
in 5 years.
let that happen.
Because initially it went through Mr. Joseph, it wasn't in our
What we're
office.
going to do, what we would do, or what we have done differently now is we have changed the specifications where it opens it up a little more where we're not stuck to, yes, you're always gonna be stuck to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder.
Unless you can
Not
rule it out some
necessarily.
kind of way that he didn't quote the right specs.
Correct. And that's what happened to us with the previous bid. We had a lower bid at that time. He was not meeting the pump spec at that particular time. The vendor that Mr. Blankenship and all works with, we are looking at their pumps and what they use and what is a better product for the parish as a whole. And we have opened that spec up to include that product and now have excluded the basically the specification that those pumps were purchased on previously. And we've documented the fact that, hey, this was the previous spec and it failed. It doesn't, it's not proving to be a quality product.
If it don't fit us, we ain't gonna buy it.
Correct.
Mr. Clapper, can you help us out with this? There's nothing that deems a governing entity that they have to go with the lowest bid on anything that they will want to purchase, or I think with parts, service, things of that nature should be included to where we're not bound and stuck. You know, if a company is $2,000 higher than the lowest bid, but they're local, they can provide us a service, they got a better product, why should we be deemed to go with the lowest bidder?
I would love to hear that answer.
I need some help with that.
Because I know that is not the
Be
case.
careful what you
We
ask,
are
and I
bound.
agree with you, Ken.
We are bound by the lowest bidder.
Unless we
Unless-
can rule it out. Unless
I
we can
mean,
rule it out some other way.
Well, we broke the law.
Well, I'm not going to
insurance.
jail for anybody that's choosing to blatantly break the law. But unless we have substantial information, like the road contractor, the repetitive issues we had with a certain contractor, we had litigation, and if we had record of that, that would just preclude us from doing business with them. Other than that,
You can bar that
we are bound
person
by the,
unless he
I don't
see
doesn't
how
meet
it's
the
possible.
specification.
And again, it's the design and the specs. So if we create it in a way that provides the opportunity to get us the best product for that dollar value, you'll come within range, so you won't have that problem. But again, to not take the lowest bidder, that's what is going to create your issue. So I agree with Kim in terms of, I wish there was something else I could tell you about that, but the law is the law.
Okay.
Well,
We'll
what
tell
we
you
may
this,
have
Mr.
to do
Alcorn.
when we get something like this and get a lower bid and it's from out of state, is do a little investigating on that company.
We have, the other thing that we've added to the specification is that the bidder or the company that supplies the pump must be able to service that pump and have a local service rep within a certain mile radius of the parish. That's as tight as we can make it without being,
A closed
I
bid,
implemented
a
that.
closed bid.
right. I can't recommend to you to do a closed bid. We're tightening that spec as best we can to not have that guy that's coming from way out of town that's just pulling any old pump off the shelf. You know,
But at the end of the day, we still got the right to refuse and reject any and all bids.
Yes, that is correct.
So that's our.
that's
issue.
your.
And my other point
that's
was-
your out.
We actually write a spec for a pump, but it has to be or equivalent to.
Right.
So it has to be or equivalent to. We rewrote the spec to match what our accommodations are and submitted it. And these particular individuals actually on a 30-day bid came back and they bid on it and won the bid. So we do have a localized vendor
But I don't know if people will go with your,
with our
unless
parish
they
bid spec.
decide to bid it again.
it's
I can't
federal
answer
money,
that.
you typically have to follow federal guidelines. You
Right.
can't automatically assume state bid.
So
Right.
So you just gotta
you
make
gotta
sure.
go with who they.
I mean, we
choose.
use this as an estimate, God
Right.
forbid, don't get me wrong.
Correct. That's based on ours.
What I would consider us looking at is, of these 22 pumps, how many are inoperable right now?
About seven.
All right, so I would like us to consider moving forward, purchasing those 7 using Go Mesa funds and then apply the balance to the hazardous mitigation because we have time. These other pumps are out of service right now and cannot be used. We have some that are still being used. We just know that we have lemons in operation and they can go out at any time.
That's a good question would be, is that the 7 we buy, when it be considered using it as the 25% match?
It's possible if we put it as the project and we begin the project before we get awarded with FEMA and just document it that way.
Mason's federal. Typically can't use federal on federal. So we have to get clarification.
We get some clarification. Let's move forward with what we gotta do. But the other question is the 25%, $142,000, where that come from, Mr. Webb?
You keep asking me that every meeting. The answer's not changing. If it's gonna come out of drainage, then you all might have to change your allocation on an annual basis of which each ward receives
Right,
for drainage to fund it.
so if
Other
we,
than that, we're looking at,
if we don't do it that way, we still have to fund 225,000 to get these pumps back in operation. If we don't buy new pumps. So I think it's better to spend more and get a warranty on them and get quality pumps in place.
And you got a better spec to begin with.
So the particular pump that I pulled out the other day was installed when I graduated high school in 1995. So it just came out of service. That's 29 years versus 7 to 11.
can I be devil's advocate and just ask a question? But don't shoot the messenger. I'm just asking a question. If these are redundancy pumps, can we maybe not do an evaluation as to which ones are really needed if we've been without them for how many years now? Just asking about the need on all 22 locations?
Well, that's what I think, and I've said that at the last
We've been
meeting.
limping for a long time. Well, we've been fortunate that last spring we didn't have high water. We would have been in a bind last spring. Had the pumps not failed, we wouldn't have had to rent 6 pumps.
I know we're
several months
talking
at a
about
time.
22 here.
I know, but we rented.
I just was asking,
several
just to make
pumps.
sure that they are in fact
This is for gas.
additional redundancy. needs.
Yes,
The gas. Okay,
they're all gas.
I see you got Cecilia Street down here. Cecilia don't have a gas pump.
Where's SSC? Yes, because it does have a gas pump. They moved it to Felicia, but it originally was slated at Cecilia Street.
Well, you see, that one, you could put that one on the bottom of the list, because we use that maybe once a year.
Yeah, don't even touch the water because it's
Yeah,
too high.
the way they made us, do
I
the
understand.
elevation, it don't. You gotta wait for a
Move that
serious
way,
flood.
move that where the other one's broken at.
There's several like that where the platforms are.
But that's what
are 3 foot
that's what I'm
above.
saying, if you list in order, the
Priority.
worst ones,
I understand.
this one would be,
The
all
7
of
that's
mine would
failed.
be just about at the bottom.
There's 7 that's failed and it doesn't include Cecilia.
But you
Awesome.
almost need to put this list in some sort of priority.
I'm gonna provide the studies that we did previously for the hazard mitigation to Mr. Thomas to help him get that application in and done, because a lot of the data, since we're going for the same pumps, is the data we can use is the same. So we're gonna help him put that together. I am gonna, via Mr. Thomas, we might want to ask the question, since, and again, I'm just throwing it out there, but since Mr. Blankenship and the parish maintenance department has been continually doing maintenance on these pumps and providing new materials and so forth, there may be a way we can monetize that as our 25% match. Because of they do allow in-kind service in some cases. So that is something we can research with hazard mitigation to see if that would.
The catch on that is normally it can't be predated of the contract, but we can ask.
We can ask, and also,
Now, see,
he's still gonna be
David's
doing
tomorrow.
continual work. I mean, with the tasks that you all have put forth, even if it's post the award, we may be able to monetize some of that labor and some of that materials that he's been putting forth for that.
We just
as
need to
part of
have
the
a way to
project.
track those man hours on those individual pumps. That would be the only thing.
All right, well, let's-
So let's make a motion to go on, prove to go out for a hazard mitigation grant.
Mr. Tommy, I would think you just have to get some clarification first.
Yeah,
You have to
and I'll,
confirm
I'm
the
in Baton Rouge.
25% match, confirm that we can use it for pumps that we already funded through here, and questions about the match.
I'm gonna be in Baton Rouge the rest of the week, so I can get with the grant department over there and get some clarification.
And
Okay, but-
specifically, if we can use the MESA funds to be the 25% match.
Mr. Lawrence, is gonna work on hazard mitigation on grant.
And Mr. Blankenship, if you can identify the pumps
and separate those that are out of service now that need immediate replacement.
Right.
So that we can focus
Prioritize
on
them
those
first.
first.
But my task prior to this was asked to provide this,
Understood.
not that portion of it. So just to clarify.
All right, number one, no action taken. Number two, request approval for $1,500 overage on project number 92840.
I can speak on that one, Mr. Chairman. This was a project, drainage project to sweep the outfall on the east side of Highway 996 in Ward 7. There was a discrepancy on the size of the right of way and the need to remove some vegetation and some trees. So there was the overage that needs to be motioned of the $1,500. We also need to authorize the president to sign an updated cooperative endeavor agreement. So that's what we need.
So moved. Motion by Mr. Blanchard,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number three, request approval to hire GIS engineering to survey drainage district number 2 boundary lines, Ward 1.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, put this on the agenda. I think I mentioned at the last meeting, after meeting with the registered voters and also the assessor's office and the president of the drainage district number 2. There are some issues as pertains to the language when when everything was written up and the boundary lines of the entire district. So in consulting with the drainage district president, we would like to go ahead and request approval for GIS engineering services to go ahead and survey the boundary lines for drainage district number 2, and the allocation of $6,500 will come from the Ward 2 drainage district account.
Okay, Ron, all that I ask is that this board makes a recommendation to the district for that hiring because they have to authorize the spending of their funds.
So you need a resolution.
Yeah, just approve, authorizing that district.
I'll work with Todd.
We can't spend their money.
Right, I'll work with Todd. Todd, you are in support of that, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll get with you about the resolution.
Need motion on the floor for that?
Yeah, I need a motion on the floor.
Motion.
Recommend the district to proceed with
Motion.
this.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Mathern to
Second.
proceed for the district to meet and hire GIS engineering to survey the drainage district, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, request approval, survey and appraise property along Spur 70 for use of drainage project by active donation by owner.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is this is the Platinville Drainage Project, where we're going to be getting an active donation from the landowner. And we would like to go ahead and have that property surveyed in the amount of $3,500, and it can come out Ward 1's drainage allocation. As it pertains to the appraisal of the property, I would like to table that until the next meeting.
Just a question, why would you need an appraisal on that?
Excuse me?
Why would you need an appraisal?
Well, we wanted the survey and the appraisal costs to go in the documents that Mr. Calabro is going to help fill us out with the active donation letter. So if the landowner would like to use, as he's donating the property, he can use that as a tax write-off.
So move.
All right, motion by Mr. Carter,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, request approval for culvert replacement at 2666 Highway 1010, Ward 2.
Yes, that's a culvert on the east side of Highway 1010 that it's actually concrete jaws. One of them's collapsed. It needs to be replaced. Survival project.
So move. Cost of $700. Motion by Mr. Como, second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, request approval to sweep the outfall at the end of Tullamore Street, Ward 6.
This is a canal that we maintain every 3 to 4 years. It has some sludge built up in it and some grass growth that just needs a light sweep. It drains the back of Tullamore Street.
Total cost of $750. Motion by Mr. Carter,
Second.
second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, request approval to sweep the outfall day into James Street, Ward 9.
And actually, this is behind Keith Street. We access it from James Street. Same issue. Every 5 to 6 years, we go in and we sweep the build up in the canal.
Motion.
All right, we have a total cost of $750. Motion by Mr. McFerrin,
Second.
second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Blanchard, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
We'll call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Let record reflect all members are present. Item 1, request approval to pay bills submitted through March 3rd, 2023. Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Nakane. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Discuss fuel surcharge adjustment with Waste Depot.
Okay, the last invoice I received from them is their assessment of 33 cents. I did 2 different assessments. I don't see anything that talks about on-road or off-road diesel, so I don't have any rates on that. The June 2021 average with 304 as the baseline results in a 0.21 cents surcharge. Using their average of 2.49 results in a 30 cents. And they're assessing a 0.33 cents. So I'm just not really sure what else y'all want me to research on this.
What's your recommendation? 0.330?
I don't really have a recommendation because I don't know the rules as to how this assessment is supposed to come. Again, I don't think that the whole year of 2021 should be used for an average. I took the June 2021 rate when we started our contract as a baseline. They took the average, which put it lower because January through May was lower. We weren't in contract with it. I don't see why that's relevant.
So since the contract started, yeah, 0.30.
Using that fuel baseline, the fuel baseline rate was 3.04. And then they said 6 miles per gallon, and then the average diesel price is 4.267. In the fuel surcharge calculator, that comes up with a 0.21 surcharge.
I think we should pay them. That's what they do is ride around. They don't pick nothing up. Why pay them?
It's in the
You talking about
Contract to pick up too.
Well, it's all contingent on what you put in as that baseline. That's where the discrepancy is. The discrepancy is the number we're using on the baseline figure.
The table.
I mean, we tabling it every
Yeah,
week.
we do.
We gotta come to a resolution.
The 3.04 that's being used is the known average from the beginning of the
That's the
contract.
June 2021. That's the month of June average. If you take the month of June, that's the average.
Sure.
Okay, 249 is the actual rate when we got into contract. So it's even lower at the beginning of June. So this is the monthly average, 304, and the actual rate when we entered the contract was 249.
And that's based on that invoice that you produced.
That's based on that, the index, the national index, where we can go and get those numbers.
He had a trigger point. Probably.
But he has a whole, I don't know what his base rate is.
Oh, we got left on that contract.
Too long time.
No, I'm sorry, this 2.49 June rate is from his invoice that he provided us.
Right. Which was
Yeah.
off-road diesel.
Right. But again, looking on that spreadsheet with all those rates, they don't distinguish.
was that
between
month?
off-road and-
What was that, the 2.49?
2.49 is the, what he billed us on that invoice we got in June,
Did you discuss this with him?
not much lower,
June of what? That's
2021,
21.
when the contract started,
When we entered.
when we entered the contract.
Kim, you don't think if y'all were to discuss it and go through it together, perhaps while you're going through it, just
I mean,
explain it to him?
I was emailing him back in February, back and forth, and
Yeah, but is it that hard for y'all to get on the phone and discuss it?
well, I can only speak on my half, not his half.
He won't answer your email?
Won't come to.
I asked him the last time we went back and forth, and I asked him if he could come to a meeting, and his answer to me was, I will not be coming.
Well, I would do this.
So I haven't communicated back with him.
I would send him an email or call him or whatever and tell him we're gonna go with that lower figure. We're not going with his figure. And then that might get him over.
I may propose that we introduce a motion to provide the 21 cents per mile. And
So moved.
if he's not satisfied with it, he can appear and justify increasing more than that.
And that's using the baseline rate of the June 2021 monthly average.
So a motion by Mr. Como, second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
I only have a question. Kim, when you make,
Mr. Mathern's opposed.
when you make reference to the, what the index refers to, does he have leeway and justification to put a number out there that he's using for that equation?
I asked him if he could explain to me where he got his calculations from, and these invoices is what he sent me. But it still doesn't,
I just wonder if we were, again, if you said you asked him to come to a meeting, or you asked him to come to discuss it with you, because such a thing, I don't think needs to take place at a meeting. I think that's something where y'all could have looked at, and the two of you go over it. and-
But if you
and
want to
resolve it.
discuss it with
We
him, she
did.
can't force
this
it.
has been going on since the middle of
I think
February.
by doing this, we're gonna force him to come talk to her or come to the meeting.
Come to a meeting.
All right, go ahead. We got a motion made.
You don't want to come to the meeting.
We have voted. So on item 3, request approval to renew contract with Direct Parts and Service for Central Parish Community Center chiller maintenance.
So moved.
This is a contract that we generally renew every year. Last meeting, they had some insurance issues, but they were resolved.
Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to pass the sale of property adjacent to Monterey Park.
Yes, we, a couple of meetings back, y'all approved the purchase order. Now we have to approve the actual sale document.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Johnson,
Second.
second by Mr. Mr. Como. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
And Mr. Calabro did review those, so in case you were.
Consider approval for floodplain manager to attend FEMA 273 class managing floodplain development through the National Flood Insurance Program on August 27th to September 1st in Maryland at FEMA's Emergency Management Institute. Approximately $900 for flight, reimbursable by FEMA. Travel from airport room and meals provided by FEMA.
So, second.
Motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval for the Special Programs Director to attend the 2023 ACAP Louisiana Day in New Orleans. Registration costs $100.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Nakam. Second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Oh, okay.
No.
Get a picture and like.
5:25, let's get the personnel meeting started. Record reflect all members of present.
You know, so who else you got?
May be held in executive session.
So motion that item 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 be held in executive session. Yeah, 5 of them.
So you gotta revise. I'm sorry.
You got 5 of them.
Sitting on your-
Motion by Ron.
Yeah, I got a motion that all 5 items be held in executive session.
Again, Dave.
One at a time. Wait, we'll call papers.
Motion to go back in out of executive session.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Pineville, all in favor? Pass. Let's see. Number one, we approve to for special program director to advertise for an assistant.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pineville, second by Mr. Blanchard, all in favor? Opposed? Number two, we're gonna table. Number three. Approve to fill the permanent office position. Mr. Taylor Coupel, grade 5, step 17.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Pineville. Second by Mr. Blanchard, all in favor? Any nays? Number four, request to approve the accountant position. We approve Ms. Michelle Solar, grade 8, step 11. Motion by Mr. Blanchard, second by Mr. Nakane, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number five. We discussed to change the road and bridge, two road and bridge employees. Mr. Bronson Cooper to grade 5, step 23. And Mr. Greg Woods to grade 5, step 27. Motion by Mr. Nakane.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pineville, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Pass.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Pineville, second by Nakane, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
Let's go ahead and get started with the Road and Bridge Committee meeting. Let the record reflect that all members are present. Item number one, request approval for speed bumps on newly submitted applications for Marshall Lane, Ward 5, and Billy Street, Ward 1.
Motion.
Justin is out sick today. He asked if that could be tabled.
But he did put this on the agenda.
Yeah.
I trust his
Everything
recommendation.
ready to go.
Oh, he just asked, he sent me an email and asked me to table it, but
Oh, you want to table it?
that's what he said.
I think,
Okay, well,
I think he may have done that because he was, he is ill,
Yeah.
but he had done the work though.
Yeah,
That's
I think it was just, I mean, I don't know if y'all saw it.
Because I've got two and he's, asked that, he doesn't move forward with it because he wasn't gonna be here. But I think yours can go around. Whomever those are for.
you got Marshall Lane and
Mine's
Napoleonville
good.
and Billy Street.
It's up to y'all.
Make a motion that base that just. Mr.
Make sure
Chair, sorry,
he had no,
recommended.
he had no hookups yet.
Yeah.
I got a motion by
That me, I
Mr.
think, I'm not on.
Nakane and the second by Mr.
That
Diaz.
me, that me.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And we're gonna table item number 2 and motion to adjourn. Motion by Diaz. Second by Pineville. Being adjourned.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with the Engineering Grants Committee meeting. All members are present. Update from the grants coordinator.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Wonder if you can take top 3 and pass it. Hello, everyone. I would like to first present a few updates on the grant list that's being passed around.
Oh, okay, 3.
Yeah, the top 3.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, for stating it initially, I'm sorry. Yeah. Here you go, Ms. Carol.
What's up, man?
Yes, sir. So the first update I would like to mention is the installation of the LED lights with the Entergy Energy Efficiency Grant is complete. As well as the Keep Louisiana Beautiful grant, today we actually received the trash receptacles, which will be delivered to Gilbert Patty Park. In addition to the RAISE grant was finished and applied for last week. This was for bridge and road improvements within the parish. Also, with the water sector program match, Ms. Kim requested that I find out more information on some eligibility concerns for our match. And I was able to receive an email from the American Recovery Act program. This email, I asked them if it was all right if we use the American Recovery Act as our match. And I received an email and it says, the email says, generally, yes, if using funds available under the revenue loss eligible use category, and no if using funds under any other eligible use category. So it's kind of vague, their answer that we received back, and I emailed them back to clarify. However, with the water sector program itself, it did say that American Recovery Act was eligible. So I'm just still looking to get clarification from the American Recovery Act so we can have both bases covered. Also, this morning I had a meeting with Mr. Pat Gordon with South Central Planning. And I basically got him up to speed with a few of the grants that we have on the table. And in particular, we discussed the Transportation Alternatives Program and the Land, Water, and Conservation Fund Program, because these deadlines are approaching very soon. Lastly, as many of you may know, this is my last meeting with the parish, and I would just like to extend my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to work here and meet so many wonderful people in Assumption Parish. I would like to thank the members of the jury, especially. It's just amazing to see all of your dedication to the parish and being able to step up and being such great, wonderful examples of what a leader is. So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate all that
You let it
you've
good luck.
done with me.
Good luck to you on your future
Good luck
endeavors.
to you, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. If you want to sell that shirt, but it'd be a little bit too small for
He knows he can't sell it. He knows what he gotta do with it.
So Leonard, you say you met with Mr. Pat Gordon on a couple of things.
Yes, sir.
You also said that the trash receptacles were in at the parish barn,
Yes, sir.
but there are some additional steps to
Mhm.
completing the whole process with those trash receptacles, aren't they? Right.
Yes, sir. We just have to put a statement in the newspaper, as well as take pictures of once they're installed, and also send a letter to our delegation thanking them for the grant.
Can you please forward those requirements to Ms. Maria Gonzalez? She's offered to help us wrap up some of these grant programs, and I think she can help us with that, the advertising. So we need
Yes,
to
sir. I
finish
can
off.
do that.
And where's the deck or the folders for each particular grant that you're working on? Does Kim has that, or?
Where's the
Pat's in.
We gotta see, how we gonna, if we're gonna hire Mr. Pat or not. I'm just asking, where are the files?
Yes, sir. I have a filing cabinet under my desk. I have the files.
Okay. So,
Hold on, we didn't get an update. So on the community development block grant, Belrose Lane application, there was a letter that was supposed to be sent to the state to identify part of that, but that the project was on the parish right away, not
Yes,
state.
sir. I wrote a letter. I just need to get your signature at the end of the night. So,
Okay.
And also the explanation about how South Central Planning can be used to administer that grant.
yes, sir. So I was able to talk to Miss Venetia with the CDBG. She basically explained how we'd be able to use South Central Planning, but we have to enter into a sub-recipient agreement, so we won't be able to procure them. So that was the explanation I received from Ms. Venetia in the CDBG program.
Are you familiar with the next steps on that, Kim?
Not really, but been talking with Pat. on it.
On the line item appropriation fire hydrant installation project, do we have all of the fire chief's responses as to what hydrants were priority?
I think I've got all but one. I think that's by Lewis.
Then you give them a deadline
Yeah.
as of
Today.
today.
So we do have his list from previous, so we're gonna go off of that. And what I'm gonna do is just have, I have a meeting scheduled Friday with the contractor to set up, when they're gonna mobilize, basically how many crews they've got and get these hydrants installed and get this project closed. And in the meantime, while he mobilizes, I'll continue to reach out to
The
Our
community
legislative
water-
delegation has been notified of all the projects that are still incomplete. And so the ball is rolling. The ball is rolling on that. Just want to let you know.
Is there something that we have to do for Community Water Enrichment Fund, new plant number 5?
No, sir, not at this moment.
All right, that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Next item is discuss grant outsourcing. Kevin Belanger.
Kevin couldn't make it today, so Mr. Pat Gordon is here.
So Pat Gordon, I'm Plan Director for South Central Planning, and Kevin was unable to make it tonight. He had some other things to take care of. Of course, he'll be attending the Police Jury Association conference later on this week. So I'm sure that y'all have a chance to chat with him a little bit if y'all like to. But we did meet, me, Leslie Long, and Cassie Parker of our staff at South Central, met with Leonard this morning just to go over some of the proposed grant applications that he's been working on. And the TAP applications, which are transportation alternative programs, there's 5 of them. And the concerns that we had were that you need to get a surveyor, not a surveyor, an engineer to come up with some cost estimates and site plans and a map that shows the location of the project. And Leonard had told us that Joe Savlon's office had been working on these. And so we got Joe on the phone and got a little conference call going, and it sounds like he's just finished with the Belrose, the Belrose community sidewalks. So as soon as he gets that information into Assumption, that application can get finalized and submitted in. The other 4 he's working on as well. Now he didn't tell us when he could get that information in. But I would hope that within the next week, if he was able to submit that information, South Central Planning could put together some applications and submit it by the end of the month. Now, the end of this month is the deadline for these TAP applications. Also, we're going to need to get the state to agree on these sidewalks along state routes as well. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with the matching requirements for these grants, but it is 5%. So you got 5 grants, and I don't know how much the cost is, but you're looking at 5%. That would have to be a local match for these grant applications. Well, not the applications, but if they're awarded, you'd have to come up with 5%. Also, the other grant that we had talked about with Leonard was the land and water land and conservation fund. and that's a 50-50 match. So you need to come up with a 50% match on that. It's my understanding that a capital outlay request has been made of $500,000 in order for that to come up with a local match. Well, I mean, that doesn't happen until after the application deadline date, which is April 1st for this grant application. So I did put in a phone call to the state to ask if that would be permissible to submit the application without the local match at hand, and I haven't heard back from them, but I'll probably hear back from them later on.
Excuse me,
You want to
sir.
add something to that?
Just to respond on that land and water. Yes, we have been in communications with Ms. Suzanne. Ms. Suzette Sims, who's over land and water. And she does know the direction that we're heading, getting the matching funds through capital outlay. And even though we are going to submit on the deadline, the monies for her project won't be awarded if we're awarded until later after. We do know that the session is going to close about May, either at the end of May or June 1st, when everything should be signed off.
So that's good to know.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And of course, Leonard had mentioned the LCDBG grant. The application has been submitted. And of course, if there's any additional work that needs to be done on the application, we could step forward and provide that information to the Office of Community Development. And we would be prepared to submit a contract to y'all for the next meeting. I think y'all meet on the 21st or the 22nd? 22nd, okay, on the 22nd, and we could have a contract for, and Kevin said we're not going to go with billable rates. We would just go with the cost of what it would cost us to put these applications together, not to exceed $15,000. And so that would hopefully take care of the 5 TAP grants, the land and water, and pick up any loose ends on the LCDBG grant.
Guys, we haven't sought after those funds ourselves, but from the last Region 3 meeting, Guy Comey did specify those funds that are available for us to assist with just what he's asking, to perhaps pay them the $15,000 to do that. So we need to reach out to them.
There's no administration fees on these grants?
Excuse me?
No administration participation? Right?
No, not at this time, because we're not sure if Assumption is going to hire another grants manager to administer these grants if they're issued. If they are, then that staff member would step in on that. If not, then we could talk about administering some of these grants in the future. But the TAP grants or construction type grant applications, and once you get the money, it should be something that the Public Works Department can handle with the bidding and the construction. So I don't. It's not like LCDBG grants. I mean that's a monster to try to handle administratively. Dealing with the Department of Transportation is totally different. EDA, DRA, they're all easy to work with, but the Office of Community Development is very difficult, and you do need a staff, a full-time staff.
Mike, just to address some of his concerns, I did speak with Mr. Gordon as well as Leonard this morning. We have completed all of the mapping of the TAP grant sidewalks, as well as basically the quad mapping and so forth that's required. We're pulling distances right now on those so that we can get those cost estimates put out of here as quickly as possible. I had been working with Leonard previously on those grants, so I will just shift all information that we had sent to Leonard. I will certainly forward that on to Mr. Gordon. And we've worked with South Central Planning numerous times in the past on CDBG block grants as well as other things. So we're happy to be able to coordinate with them and get this thing done.
So you said, yep, charge $15,000
That's correct.
to do
Not
the
to
5
exceed.
tap, huh?
Not to exceed 15.
Not to exceed.
Not to
We
exceed.
would charge you our reimbursable rates, not our billable rates, which is a little different. Billable is much higher.
Up to 50.
Up to 15, that is correct.
Okay.
And just keep in mind regarding the LCDBG, they're gonna assist with that one in application only, not if we are awarded.
That's
an
correct.
Administration of grant.
Thank you.
That's separate.
Yeah, if y'all are awarded that, and that's a 2-year cycle, LCDBG. So if you're not funded this year, it's possible you could be funded next year. But when it does come up, and if it's awarded, we could enter into a recipient type contract.
All right, let's move on. Mr. Kumar, make a motion to approve up to 15,000 for South Central Planning Development Commission to seek the TAP grants
Just the tap.
and water.
Land and water
Land and water
conservation.
And water, and also any additional information that needs to be submitted for the LCDG grant.
What about Louisiana Recreational Trails Grant? That was part of it too, Leonard.
I'm not aware of,
You're not.
I haven't gotten that list.
You got to do date of July 1. Is that-
Okay. So I don't want to fall through the cracks. That's all I'm saying.
I think the 6 that we're talking about, the due date is at the end of the month.
Exactly.
Let's take care of this TAP, and we can revisit that.
There's another grant program we had talked about. I know you're familiar with the water sector. Has any more information for the next round, or are we still on the holding pattern? Or?
Oh, you're talking about the watershed?
Yes, LWI.
Yeah, well, I think that LWI has been working with your engineer on getting additional information so that the final approval can be granted for that.
Sure. So that's on the, I guess we'll call it like around 1.5.
That's correct.
But I guess I'm questioning about entering new projects into round 2.
Yeah, round 2. There was a webinar, in fact, today, Zoom meeting on that. And there's $100 million that is going to be allocated throughout the state. And basically, those funds can only be used for low to moderate income areas and distressed communities. They're looking for some nature-based drainage solutions, but of course, drainage projects, any type of drainage project in a low to moderate income area.
The whole parish is low income.
Perfect.
It's the whole parish is low income.
Yeah, well, no, it has to be census designated. So you have a project that's in a particular area, you have to get those census tracts and make sure that they're below the low to moderate income levels. So it just depends on what the boundaries of that particular project would be. But yeah, that's coming up. They're going to open up the pre-applications March 13th, and May 1st is the deadline. Those applications for round 2. I would think
Okay,
that
we have a motion on the floor by Jeff. Second by Michael, all in favor? Opposed?
Yes, something else?
you may want to check with GIS and see if they have any proposed projects that are in low to moderate income areas that you could submit for that.
We've actually already put them into the inventory. We just need
Oh,
to
good.
to
Okay.
update and select the low to moderate income and make sure that we actually apply those for this round.
Next meeting, I'll be before you with the contract and kind of give you a status of where we are with the projects. How's that?
Okay, Joseph, March 30th is the deadline.
I'm aware.
Be quick
Yeah,
on the
we've been working on the TAP grants
Okay.
with that deadline
So,
knowledge.
so with the TAP grants, I'm gonna give Ms. Donna a note for next meeting. We're gonna have to put on the agenda to approve a resolution in support of each of those 4 projects. That's part of the requirements to submit.
Right, we're gonna need
No,
cost
this
estimates
is-
so we can approve that.
It's just a resolution that
Oh,
the
yeah.
jury is in support of the
I
project.
mean, as far as the estimates and all that.
Well, I would do that, and also, I would add that the 5% match, that you would be responsible for a
Right.
5%.
Sure, yeah,
It's
we've
gotta be
already
part of that
identified that.
Yeah, but we don't know what the number is. We have to approve the number, which we waiting on a cost estimate.
Right, it was the road fund.
Okay, good. All right, that's fine.
And now, look, now that you've approved working with South Central Planning, I will forward everything that I have already completed over to Mr. Gordon, immediately. So, they'll be able to keep that.
Mr. Gordon, you gonna be the point of contact, or you got someone on your
Actually,
team?
I plan on being the point of
All
contact,
right,
yes.
okay.
Because then I'll disseminate to the other planners
Okay.
the workload. But Cassie Parker, who works in the transportation division, would be the main one for the TAP grants. And she assists other communities in applying for those grants. We don't normally submit those applications, but we provide technical assistance in putting those together. So we can do it. It's not-
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
do.
All right, number 3 is table. Number 4, request approval of the lowest responsive bidder for the Bertrandsville Drainage Outfall Cleaning and Snagging Project, and authorize the president to sign the documents.
Yes, with that, we received bids on February 28th. We received 3 bids. The low bidder was LA Contracting Enterprises LLC with a base bid of $228,800. At this time, it was identified after we received the bids that a scope of the project has changed significantly. So we are recommending that you get with your legal counsel with as far as a recommendation on how to move forward, whether that be to either reject all bids at this time and then re-advertise, or if there's something that can be discussed with the low bidder regarding a possible scope change.
So just for the record, you were not aware of the scope change at the time that we advertised for bid.
No, sir.
All right, and you were just notified after
Yes, sir.
bids were in.
What basically happened is some of the work was completed by the local landowner during the bid period. We sent a surveyor out prior to submitting the plans and the design. That was all surveyed. Even at the time that we advertised, nothing had changed on those canals. So it went out to bids. We received a good number. However, in fact, as I understand it, there's still equipment even on site from that local landowner that had done some of the work.
Yes, what happened was Mr. Kevin, one of the local farmers, contacted me about a week ago. Once he found out about the project, he said, man, I want to come show you, we done done some of the work. Westfield done some of the work and another farm done some of the work. So on Monday, I went and rode out there with him to look at it, and a lot of the work has been done. They still got equipment out there. They're still constantly doing some work on it.
So the entire scope has changed now.
Where the funding was coming from?
Go Mason, non-bond. Go Mason.
There's so much work was done. What you think we need to bid it?
I would think so.
Well, so an option that we have after speaking to Mr. Calabro is that we can take this bid under advisement and allow the engineer to contact the contractor to see if he would accept a change order deduct and complete the rest of the scope that has not been completed for a lesser price. If they can't come to terms, then we'll reject the bid because it changed scope and have to rescope the project and go out for bid again.
We'll go with that. You go with it?
Yeah, but we need to be very, very specific on our design to make sure that the contractor understands exactly what needs to be accomplished and understands the amounts involved. So again, if it was accepted, it would be with the agreement of a deduct change order in order for them to proceed. If not, it would be necessary to reject all bids based on this change in scope and then go back to the drawing board.
What we would do, basically, I'm going to request a meeting with the low bidder, and it'll be an actual on-site meeting. And then once he has an idea or an understanding of what that deduct change in scope will be, and if he's agreeable to it, we will have to put that, we're going to issue a reduced scope change of plan that with a deducted change order that he would have to sign and agree to, so that there's no misunderstanding at the end that, hey, I'm owed this or do this. There's going to be it will have to be a negotiated amount based on his bid for that reduction in scope, and he has to be able to agree to that. If he doesn't, then our only option at that point is to come back to you and recommend a rejection.
The only issue I got, we're dealing with Go Mesa funds.
Yes, sir.
Dealing with Go Mesa funds. Go Mesa funds are gonna allow us to do that? Or should we rebid the project? I mean, Go Mesa, I mean.
We're essentially still within the scope of the project and we're following the state bid law with
I
it.
just
but-
wanna make sure we hit
Sure,
back
no, I
up
understand.
and-
So with the Go Mesa funds, we had only approved 100,000 for this project. And the bid came in over 200,000. So this deduct change order may bring us back within budget. If it doesn't, then we have to revisit it to see how we're gonna fund the balance.
Sure all our T's and I's are taken care of, so we don't get hit back. But we haven't approved anything yet.
Correct. No, and that's why we're recommending taking under advisement.
All right,
As of now, the farmer, they're gonna continue to work on this project or?
Westfield have stopped working on it.
Can
All
they
right.
not finish and we not have a project? Or they not willing?
Well, they have no desire to extend back towards LA1 where their fields don't
Okay.
drain.
So they were
So
gonna stop anyway.
can you coordinate with them just to
Yes.
confirm that they have
Yes,
completed what they're doing?
I'll reach out to him and we'll confirm exactly where they're. It may be that I may have to actually send our surveyor back out and get some specific design parameters so that we don't have any discrepancies when we go into those
Most
discussions.
definitely. On the advisement, Mr. Kumar, I guess,
Motion to allow the engineer to,
Right, to accept the bid under advisement
yes.
and negotiate with the contractor for a deduct change order that's agreeable to the jury and the contractor.
Yeah, you gotta come back to us.
Correct.
That's my motion.
motion by Jeff, second by Jamie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Next item is request approval of the lowest responsive bidder for the 2023 road improvement program project and give authorization to sign all necessary documents.
Yes, again, on Tuesday, February 28th, we received bids for your 2023 road paving program. And again, this is just for the unit prices of the actual paving to complete the work. We are not prepared to move forward yet with the finalized road list, as that still has to be discussed with you all as the jury. And we are going to be operating and getting estimates to you based on these unit prices if they're accepted. I received two bids, one from Barry A Construction LLC in a total amount of the unit prices of $2,673,250, and one from M-Track LLC in the amount of $2,300,000. And at this time, we're recommending acceptance of the bid from M-Track LLC, being the lowest responsible and responsive bidder.
Who did our last
You working
one?
out Parish?
Who did our last one? Road over there?
M-Track.
You see what he did last? You satisfied?
We were
I got a motion
satisfied.
on
We
the
also had we also did have meetings with them regarding quality of work. They have new equipment. They have new crews. I have been working with them in other parishes. I have seen I guess a step up, if you will, in their work, and I am recommending them at this time.
They
What
were 10
about-
times
what-
better
what-
than what we had in the past.
Yeah, what about the stuff that they didn't finish? We had some stuff that just wasn't finished. I would like to see that stuff at the top of the list if they start off on that new contract.
Anything that was left undone from the previous thing is going to be put back onto the road priority program, which of course is going to come before this jury for approval. And whatever's approved, we will move forward.
Yes, I mean, like last time, they got paid the majority of the contract and decided they wouldn't come back and finish these little smaller touch-up jobs. They just left undone. I would like to see those jobs get to the top of the list to get done. Last time they started in Peelport, did a lot of work right there, came up front, did some work.
They still didn't finish.
What I'm saying, left some small jobs undone that still haven't been done. We had money set aside for those jobs. So I would like to see those jobs put to the top of the list.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, we still holding money for them.
Yes.
How much?
In other words, you're not holding money from them in the sense that there's anything left on your previous contracts. keep in mind, this is a pay-as-you-go contract. So if there's something that they did not do in any particular ward, they were not paid for it. They were only paid for asphalt that hits the ground. If it
It's
didn't
a
hit the
unit
ground,
price.
it's a unit price. So they did not get paid for those items for which they did not.
Okay.
Are we holding about 15,000?
We are holding 15,000, but that is a permanent, that was a permanent deduction. Because if you remember, they had damaged some speed bumps. And we held back that money, as well as we had some damages that we had to go back and repair in the route mobile section. So that money is, they are not entitled to that money, and we have spoken with them and they are aware of it.
I'm good with the unit price that we have received from Intertrack. What I'm not good with is the inspectors that Mr. Sawa had on the job. Some of these streets should have never passed without being redone. So with that being said, I spoke to Mr. Sawa, Leroy and I, and he assured us that he's gonna have better inspectors out there, or quality inspectors out there for this next program.
The previous inspectors that were on the job have been released from our firm, and we are going to be replacing them with personnel that are of a better qualification.
So we can't just blame everything on the contract.
Also too, before the road overlay program began, your 5 roads or whatever changes you want done in your area, Mr. Sawa will visit you in your area on the available date and time to make sure that whatever you're seeking, whatever improvements you're seeking in your area, it will be noted and it will be addressed. Make that as a note too as well. So we got a motion on the floor by me, got a second by Mr. Palmville, Mr. Chair.
All right, before we vote on that, can you confirm with Amtrak after we accept this bid, the time frame that the bid remains good to allow us the time to approve the roads and the estimates for each of these roads?
This contract, the way it was bid, still runs through the end of December 31st of 2023.
Okay, the motion to approve the lowest responsive bid, bidder,
Unit price.
by Ron,
Yes, sir.
the unit price.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And second by
Motion by Mr. Palmville.
Mr. Ponder. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item is a request approved to go out for bids for Barton Hill Drainage Project.
You ready, Mr. Joseph?
We are very close now that you are entering into or getting the final piece of property surveyed. The reason we're requesting permission to advertise at this point is we are at that close stage. So once we have all our i's dotted and t's crossed and you have had a chance, as well as some other jurists, to review these plans, we would like permission to advertise.
So move.
We'd like to see the plans. I think before this jury approves on any plans, I think this should be presented to the entire jury on any project.
Another 2 weeks. They're gonna make it.
So, are we good on the current estimate for this project at 2.7 million and the current allocations for it?
As of now, we are good. We are good with that price. I'm going to be seeking some type of endeavor agreement on the latter part of the Baker Canal with the Lafourche Levee Basin District. So it could change a little bit to a lesser amount, but as of now, I'd like to keep it to where it is.
So you want to keep it to?
Well, look at that.
You making a
We
motion?
need to look at plans on any project. I can't
I
approve
agree.
something that I can't see.
Go out for bid?
Excuse me?
You making a motion? to
Yes,
go out
sir.
for bid?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
motion by Ron.
Well, we're gonna look at the plans first.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If it's satisfactory to you all, I will get the completed plans and present it to the jury prior
That's what
to
needs to
issuing
happen.
any advertisements.
On any project.
And I have no issue with that.
So we'll table number 6 till next meeting.
Wait. He got a motion on it. he's asked to put a motion on the floor that every project that comes in front of this jury, that the whole jury view every project. That's what you just said?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a problem if that's the way you want to go, but it's gonna be done for every project. But
Every
you could
project.
tape, but you could go ahead and table mine until the next meeting. Make sure, every project that comes in front of this jury, no matter where it is, we'll all
Just
take a
like what you
look at
said
it.
a couple meetings ago, every project that's gonna.
No, that's to be approved. That was to be
Well,
approved.
that's not
To
on the
approve it needs
agenda.
to be
We're
voted by
discussing
this
right now,
jury.
though. That's not on the agenda. So we'll table number 6.
Table it
And
till the
then
next meeting.
bring it up at the next meeting.
You'll have, I mean, don't give it to the.
No, no.
Yeah.
No.
Give it a little time to look.
Yes. Yes.
All right,
And-
next
and
item,
bless it.
request approval to accept low bid submitted for lead drive paving project subject to approval by the state and proceed with the project.
Yes, I received bids on Tuesday, February 28th at 10 o'clock. I received 2 bids, one from Barry A Construction LLC in the amount of $2,685,781, and one from M-Track LLC in the amount of $1,834,250. This is within budget, and we reviewed the bid, and I am recommending approval pending approval from Mr. Lee's office at the state level.
I think we were recommending approval to the states. That's what the verbiage is.
However, we are recommending moving forward with this contractor. I'm not sure of the specific language that's necessary for Mr. Lee's office.
I would like a set of plans sent out to the entire jury so they could approve this as well.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure we're sending it to Mr. James Lee because it's a line item appropriation.
As I understand it, it's still being funded via capital outlay and requires. his
So we have to do the
final
same thing with Platteville drainage.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Wherever it comes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
We can only recommend approval to them and
Yeah.
they have.
Okay.
And even the allocation for the pumps. If there's engineering attached to that, everything has to go to James Lee. Absolutely.
Okay, so number 7 is table 2.
No.
No.
We need to see the plans.
You need the,
We have to see the plans.
We need to see the plans.
those plans were brought to the jury and approved before they even went to James Lee. I have no problem. I'll issue sets for the entire jury.
Is it acceptable to the jury to receive them electronically?
That's fine. That's fine.
Myron, dude.
They'll be sent out in the morning.
I'm sitting behind the desk a little bit longer.
And I have no problem delaying that, but understand that until we have that resolution, we cannot move forward to James Lee.
And for your project is on a timetable. We've already started the ball rolling to try to finish. Construction is not going to finish within the time frame. So we're working on that right now.
Well, like Joseph said, he did bring the plans before.
Plans were approved prior to this meeting.
Yeah. Okay,
We need
so
to
I
see
need a
plans.
motion to accept the
So
bids
moved.
for lead drive paving.
Okay.
Motion by Jamie,
Second.
second by Leroy, all in favor, opposed. All right, next item, request an update on ring levies in Care Park.
Good, running lab, Joe.
Ring levies, we emailed out a site plan for some sites that are requiring a DOTD permit to you all. I've asked that you all review that. If everything is in accordance with how you like it, then I will move forward with applying for the required DOTD permit
got it,
as well
Richard?
as the DNR permit. Yes, sir, and that's the same one that was emailed to you.
This is for the 2 cross culverts.
That's for the cross culverts, yes, sir.
Two I got. On that? Jamie? Two and Holly 7.
So this is 2 cross culverts that we'll be applying for a permit from the state to add for a pumping station.
And it is needed that is needed first before we can progress forward with the required DNR and core permits. We have to show that we have permits from the state.
This was requested by Mr. Aaron Ellis.
All right, okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Michael, second by Ron, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We call to order the regular meeting for Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Let the record reflect all jurors are present. God, who teaches us by sending the light of the Holy Spirit into our hearts, grant that by the light of that Spirit, right judgment may be ours, and that we may ever find joy in his guidance. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of minutes of February 22nd, 2023, and February 27th, 2023.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Nakane, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment, we accept any public comment for any item on the agenda. First call, second call, last call. Item number 5, Drainage Committee report. Mr. Ponville.
Drainage Committee meeting was held this afternoon at 4:55. The following items were discussed. We discussed the hazard mitigation funds. Mr. Thomas is gonna look into that for us. We approved the $1,500 overage on project 92-840. We approved to hire the engineer, GIS engineering to survey drainage district number 2 boundary lines.
Excuse me, Jamie, we approved to recommend the district.
To recommend the district
Yes.
to hire GIS. Yes, ma'am, thank you. Number 4, we approved to survey, that was the engineer, Parish engineer to survey the property appraised along Spur 70. We approved culvert replacements at 2666 Highway 1010. We approved to sweep out the outfalls of Jolimar Street and the end of James Street. I present this all in form of a motion.
A motion by Mr. Ponville,
Second.
second by Mr. Johnson, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Finance Committee report. The Finance Committee met at 5:16. All members were present. We approved to pay bills submitted through March 3rd, 2023. We approved a fuel surcharge adjustment with Waste Depot for 21 cents.
That's correct, based on the June 2021 rate.
Right, so 21 cent per mile fuel adjustment. Request approval to renew contract with Direct Ports and Service for APCC chiller maintenance. We approved to pass the sale of property adjacent to Myray Park. We approved the floodplain manager to attend the FEMA floodplain development management course in Maryland. And the cost is going to be reimbursed by FEMA. We approved for the Special Programs Director to attend the 2023 ACAP Louisiana Day in New Orleans. Registration cost $100. Can I get a motion to accept?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mathern, second by Mr. Diaz. And there was one nay on item number 2 by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Opposed? Personnel Committee meeting?
Personnel Committee met at 5:25. All members were present. We approved to advertise for the hiring of a Special Program Director Assistant. We approved to fill the permit position with Kayla Coupel. We approved to fill an accountant position with Michelle Solar. And we approved the pay scale for 2 road and bridge employees.
And item 2 was tabled.
2 was tabled.
Right. Got a motion by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Ponville. All in favor? Opposed? Motion
Nay.
carried. Opposed on what item, Mr. Carter? Item 5. Road and Bridge Committee.
Road and Bridge Committee met this afternoon. All members were present. One item on the agenda, we approved for speed bumps on newly submitted speed bump applications for Marshall Lane in Ward 5 and Billy Street in Ward 1. Item number 2 was tabled. I'll give you this item in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor? Opposed? Engineering Grants Committee.
Engineering Grant Committee met this afternoon, all members were present. We've given a new update by the grant coordinator. We approved LCDBG grant outsourcing to South Central Planning for a total up to $15,000. Number 3 was tabled. Number 4 was we approved the lowest responsive bidder for Bertrandville drainage outfall with the exception that the parish engineer would be allowed to discuss and negotiate the change order with the contractor. We approved the lowest bidder for the 2023 road improvement program and also authorized the signing of the necessary documents. Number 6 was tabled. Number 7, we approved to accept low bids submitted for Lee Drive paving project subject to approval by state and proceed with the project. And was given an update on the ring levy in Pierport. All in the form of-
Thought we tabled number 7, Mr. Chair.
The what?
Thought we tabled number 7.
No. We approved.
I get the email in the
We
morning.
approved it because he did bring the plan before the jury.
The only thing, Mr. Como, on the item number 2 with South Central Planning, it's going to be the LATAP program grants and the Land and Water Conservation Fund
Okay.
grants. You had mentioned,
Yeah, LCDB.
It's the CDBG application phase only, not the award. If we would get
Okay.
awarded, then we would have to enter into another contract.
All right.
So it's really
Also-
7 of them.
Also, I think item number 4, I think you wanted to take those under advisement based on those conditions of me discussing with the contractor. It wasn't an acceptance of his bid at this
Put it
point.
under advisement, number
Yeah.
4.
yes.
That needs to come back to the jury.
Correct.
On that.
That's why I'm
Motion by Mr. Como,
Second.
second by Ms. Pondville. All in favor? Motion carried. Request approval for a gaming permit for St. Jude's Catholic Church.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to authorize the Secretary Treasurer and the Police Jury President to give callback verifications and to sign requisitions for the Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority revenue bonds.
This is a formality. It's basically for security purposes. When there's transfers to be made, they call and actually maybe confirm accounts and different things like that before they send them one.
So motion.
Motion by Mr. Pondville, seconded by Mr. Bethune. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of occupational license for Country Boy Fitness LLC in Pankerville, Sugar Snack Shack in Pankerville, and Whitney Landry Events, Pierport. Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Alcorn. Mr. Johnson, sorry. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the first phase of the derelict structure procedure for dwelling located at 207 Michelle Road in the Pierport community in Ward 9. Motion by Mr. Bethune,
It's almost done. It's almost torn up.
Second.
second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Motion adjourned. Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, gentlemen, when y'all go to check in at the hotel, if for some reason